Okay, everyone. I'd like to welcome for Redemption is week 42. Our topic for this month has been spring into action. Before I get a chance to explain what that means to me, I'll go ahead and go over our mission statement with you all. The three do, and they can become subject matter experts within the insurance adjuster industry. Our core principles are faith, which is a firm belief in something for which there is no proof; integrity, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, that's easily to misfortune or change, which is thriving in spite of any circumstance; and production. Production is the act or process of creating something of value, such as a good, services, and specifically in the insurance industry, closing a claim. Our business model at 360 is come find your vision within our vision. My name is Kayvon Hill. I'm a part of the marketing team at 360. I've been an adjuster for about 2 going on 3 years now. Um, I could that I'm excited to get back into the field to exercise my knowledge and my expertise with adjusting. I have been on multiple deployments in my short adjuster career. Been to places like Minnesota, Chicago, Florida, and most recently Indiana. My longest deployment was 7 months, which was in Indiana, and I would say that that was my easiest deployment, of course, because after going on multiple deployments and being released after a month, puts a chip on your shoulder and makes you lock in and makes you, do everything that you can to close your claims at a pretty quick rate. That way you stay off the radar and, just make sure you stand on top of everything, checking those voicemails and communicating with the policyholders and the agents. But that's a quick, brief introduction of myself. I would like to give some insight on what spring into action means to me. Spring into action, no pun intended, is simply just doing. The act of doing. In life at times we tend to have good intentions when we speak about things that we want to do or that we're going to do. That's something that I've did a lot throughout my life because I've always been a big dreamer. I've always had like a huge vision. I'm a visionary. So I always tell people, man, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that, X, Y, and Z. And it's like I had every intention of doing so. But, when you speak before you act, which is the third word in our topic, springing into action, sometimes, you come short with, honoring what you stated that you were going to do. So, what this topic means to me is just don't talk about it, be about it. Let's bring it to action, And then it's springtime, which is, the real new year. Everything is starting to blossom and grow and, transition. It's getting darker later, when that happens, people get more energy. So, we're just bringing things back to life, man. We're springing into action. We're getting up and we're doing. We're not just talking about it. So with that being said, I would like to announce our guest speakers, Tyree Perry and Janea Aiken. Before we transition over, I would like to remind you all to please fill out our feedback form if you haven't yet. And if you have any questions that need answers, please feel free to drop them in the chat. So with that being said, I would like to go ahead and transition. If you would like to come on.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead, Ronnie.
Okay, I wasn't for sure. I'm like, okay, you going right to
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't
sure.
I wasn't sure. Hi, guys. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday. Hope your Sunday's going great and blessed. My name is Ronnie Russell, and I am, let's say a seasoned adjuster. We'll just say that. I'm pretty seasoned in it. But I am an adjuster, as well as I work in medical too. Basically, I've been adjusting since about 2021 when I first got introduced into it. I've worked both field desk, mostly desk, both in auto and in property. Mostly auto though for the last 2 years. I'll say so. Um, it's been great. I love it. It's been a great career change for me. Very blessed. Me and my kid, she loves the fact that I have the freedom to like take off and be available for her whenever she needs to. For the last year though, it's been kind of stagnant. I think everybody's been experiencing that, of course. So I kind of moved into something else, but still keeping open, adjusting as like a part-time thing if it becomes available for me. And I know that it's the monthly thing is getting to action. So getting to action. Anyway, it goes. Spring to action, but
Yeah, spring
for
into
me,
action.
spring to gotcha. Spring to action. For me, that I for adjusting, I would say that will be like kind of just immediately hitting the ground running. I definitely did that in the beginning. Like came in, I immediately looked for work, found work, and just kept going for that period of time for the last 3 years doing that. So always staying active with it, always moving fast. But I can't sit around and I do nothing. So you got to keep doing something anyway. But I feel like if you are, with adjusting, you definitely want to come in and kind of just like start trying to do something immediately. Don't really waste time with it because the quicker you do it, the more you advances you are to move to different parts of learning it with it. Like with property or so. I definitely kind of push more for auto only because it's pretty easy. For me, it's been easy. Finding work for that has been easy, especially when you're trying to do desk. I would say so. They do have like adjusting with like out in the field for auto, but it's a little bit difficult to get into. But when it comes to desk, it's way easier. I would say so. But I definitely say if you're going to come into adjusting, definitely get on it as soon as you can. Like, don't waste any time. But that's just for me. So I'll just introduce our guest speaker, our first one, which is Mr. Tyree Perry.
Yes, hi. So, hi everybody. My name is Tyree Perry. I started adjusting. I got licensed in February 2022. I did a deployment in May of it was a CAT deployment opportunity. It wasn't successful. But and I didn't do anything else after that for 2022. I had opportunities and things like that pop up, but was too nervous to kind of like get out there and take the leap of faith. And I had a lot of, my friend who got me involved in it, friends, they didn't have the go get it attitude. So I kind of had to kind of separate from them in a sense because I was like, I want to get this, I poured a lot of money into it. I knew the investment, would be worth it. And I just like, I have no, there's no backup plan for me. I didn't put so much into it. I didn't know what else to do. So last year I did a boot camp class. It was my second time doing that, but here in New Jersey, I found some mentors that were like digging into me, which I needed, definitely was like, hey, go get out there, go make it happen. So later that week after I graduated the program, I got a chance to do 2 claims. I was nervous as heck, and my heart was pounding. Didn't really, was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, but I was like, all right, just get out there. So, and then from there, I got the opportunity to do. It was a little slow after that. I only kind of maybe did about, I would say, 7 claims over like 4 months, and I was kind of I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it anymore because I'm like, man, it's there's no money coming in. I'm not working. I still had a full-time job at night that allowed me to do that. So I was on the brink of going back in July, and I got a call from All Cat Claims. She called me. She said, hey, I got 3 claims in your area. Can you take it? I said, yeah, I'll take them, and 3 turned into, I would say, over 100 in the next like 3 months or so, and I was able to quit my job. And maybe in October, 3 months later, I was able to quit my job, my night job, and go full-time adjusting just from working like daily claims. So it was a blessing for me to do that. And, it was, I was shocked at myself, the product, just the productivity and just my ability to like pick it up quickly. And, I said to myself, man, I don't think I would be good at this. I don't know if I'll be able to identify damage. But in this day and age with like technology and Google, like if you look at something and you're like, okay, I think I know what this is. Let me, type this in Google, and it pulls up, and I'm just looking at Google images and just different articles and stuff that just talking about damage. And within that time frame, I was talking to one of the QA reviewers, the manager, and I just wanted to know like how I was doing and how my productivity was. And she said, for you, your product is your claims are fine. Like I don't have any issues with you. There was only one assignment that I had that was, a little, that was a roof assignment, my first time doing the roof. So she said, that's it. That's all really I've had, problem with your problem, but the only time that was like your claims weren't, were good in a sense. So like, had some, problem errors here and there, but nothing to where like, it was like, man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. So, she said, I'm going to tell your lead, how well you're doing. I said, no, you don't have to do that. She's like, I'm not doing it just because, I'm not, she's like, I'm not doing it just because I'm being nice. She said, I'm doing it because like, it makes our job, better and easier and stuff. So it kind of, I laughed at it, but it also, made me feel good that, and she also said that you're one of our best adjusters that we have working for that carrier. So hearing this within a couple months was like, whoa, like I never would have thought that would be me, you know. And since then, since July to now, I've just been working daily claims. Um, I've been working on water claims, wind, hail. I did a vandalism claim, uh, backup, sewer backup. It was like outside backup with like a outside exterior sub pump. So being in Jersey, we get a lot of different type of claims. So I've been able to work all different types, getting on roofs, going in basements, dealing with like kind of flood water, outside water, this type of things. I learned I did some loss control that I didn't mention last year as well within the process of the 4 months, and that actually helped me become more comfortable with getting on roofs. So whenever someone was like, hey, like, we do a roof claim, I was like, okay, I'm on it, and just safety is number one. And regarding uh sorry, I'm sorry, someone you had a question? Someone had a question?
You're good. Keep going, Tyree. We'll catch up with those questions at the end. When you finish
Okay.
up. Thank you, though.
Oh, I just want to check something. So regarding like the resources and stuff that helped me, learn daily claims. I wouldn't really say it was really much like any. I won't really say it was many resources that I had, or just thinking off the top of my head, just kind of no. I was told in the beginning, or you know, that when you're new, daily claims, you don't really get daily claims right off the bat. You get like the cat claims, because when you're doing cat, that's where you can get the help. That's where if you need, you get 50 claims and you go to the war room, they can help you. They can walk you through. Daily claims, day to day, there's not someone readily available for you. So it wasn't really much that I kind of knew from that point, just from like the boot camp and that I took and the Exactimate. I just knew that I actually had a friend that I would call almost every day, be like, hey man, listen, I'm looking at this wall. There's some water damage, but it's not cut open. What do I do? So he was really, giving me a lot of insight on like a lot of just damages that I wasn't really able to identify, or situations that was new to me, and he was providing me with a lot of insight. So having someone that I could call, like, that was there for me, it was just priceless. Definitely. Um, and yeah, that's really like the only resource that I really kind of use, besides like Google, and just trying to just do my best to just make sure that I turn a good claim in, making sure that I identify damages. Whenever I would do it whenever I would complete a claim. I was always wondering, like, how did I do? So I would always go back to check it. Even when I do my the kickbacks, I would always go back and just see, like, how can I do this better? How can I make sure that when this claim gets kicked back and I do the corrections, that what is this carrier looking for? So I would go in and I would check to make sure that I could now that I'm not making the same mistakes. So that was something that I take pride in myself, that I always go back to check and look, and I save all my documents just to make sure that I'm doing things right, just so I'm, just so no one's on my back. And so far, a lot of my leads, or they'll tell me, they'll say, hey, I'm not on, if I'm not on your back, you're good. I know you're going to turn in your stuff. You just want to just give you a heads up that, hey, we're looking for it. But mainly, I don't have a lot of a lot of my leads on my back, because I try to do the best as I can.
So you had like no like real training when it came to like learning how to do those claims?
I had the only training I had was I did a boot camp in Texas, but that was in 2022. And then and from that I did a boot camp in March of 2023. So that's like the only like training I had. And it really was just kind of like a refresh to just kind of, because I went a year with doing no claims really. So from 2022 to March, when I got my first claim, after a year, after the boot camp, I was just like, I just gotta make it happen. If
Got thrown to the wolves, huh?
I was like, if I'm going to fail, I got to fail right away. Because I keep saying, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get into it. Then that's going to turn into 6-7 months. And then now we're at the end of the year and I still haven't done my first claim. So it was just mainly, jumping in and just trying to learn as much as I can, and using, like I said, Google. I tell people, man, Google is your friend. Like if you're able to look up something and you have some idea of what it is, you just type it in and you just do some research. And that really saved me a lot. And also having my friend there for the majority of the stuff that I didn't know, helped me as well. So, I took pride in that, just trying to learn it as much as I can.
So what has like been your biggest accomplishment in adjusting that you've done so far?
My biggest accomplishment, I think, is just, I'm really good at like networking. I'm really good at networking myself. So just being able to like build relationships with different firms, which I know sometimes some people, some adjusters don't like to branch out to different companies. But for me, just being able to just reach out to companies and say, hey, I'm available, just have confidence in my ability now to go out. Before I was like waiting for the call, but now I'll call people like, hey, like if you need someone, I'm here. Like give me anything. Like I'll take anything. And when I get there, I figure it out. If I don't know, if they like the vandalism claim I did, my first time doing vandalism, I was like, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I was like, yeah, give it to me. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna figure it out. And, it was a success. Everything turned out well. And there was another, I'm trying to think, sorry. It was, sorry, there was another one, but I can't think of it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So are you like how are you paying it forward to like other people? Like are you introducing people to adjusting as well? Or kind of just like, I know you have a friend, but like other people they may be, are you kind of like paying forward to them as well so they can also be into it too?
Always. I'm not a gatekeeper of information. For me, I'm no matter what happens in life, for me, I'm always going to be blessed. Like I'm always going to be good. I'm always going to be able to take care of myself no matter what. So how I look at things, especially in this industry where sometimes, someone else could be a competition. I never look at it that way, because I know how much I put into something. I know the connections I build. And well, my friend who helped me during the time of like with damage identification and things, whenever like something would come my way, at the time when I was busy, I was working 20-30 claims a week. And I know some people do more, but I knew my limit to what I was able to do. But at the time when I was busy like that, I would still get calls from people who say, hey, I got this claim for you, I got that claim for you. And then I'll tell them, I say, hey, right now I'm busy, I can't take that. But I have a colleague that, he's licensed in that state. He can do it. He's really good. I put my name on him. So I've done that with, I would say, I've done that with maybe 6, 7 people. Like I've had about, even like the meet and greets what some of the firms do. Like I'll reach out to everybody I know. I say, hey, listen, man, we got this meet and greet going on. You need to come out here. So, I look up a lot of that information, but I share it. I have a friend right now, she's a New York adjuster, and she would tell me that, hey, a lot of my work has come because of you throwing me these connections. So for me, like I never like gatekeep information. I'm always trying to share and pass it along, because I want other people to win, because no matter what happens, like I'm a win no matter what. So I always try to, I'm definitely paying it forward for sure.
So do you think, okay, like when you first started, do you think that having this type of community in your circle been really helpful for you when you were first beginning adjusting?
Most definitely. If I had a community in the beginning, I most definitely would have started. Excuse me. I would have most definitely have started off much sooner than I did. I would have had, with meeting Travis and Demetrio back in January at the All-Cat conference. They were on my back. And I'll be honest. Like the relationship started off a little bad, and it was it was me. It was and one thing.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll be honest, and I'm not going too much detail, but one thing about me is that, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong, and if I say something or do something and someone else takes it a certain way, I can't look at that person like they're wrong. I have to now evaluate myself and think, what did I say or do that caused this person to feel that way? And when, the relationship, we met and I said some things, and Demetrio, he came to me, he talked to me, and I thought about it, and I was like, he's right. I did come off in a certain way, and I apologize, and let him know, like, hey man, I didn't mean it that way. But yeah, most definitely, like if I had that, I would have started off much sooner. I had to find out, like, do a lot of research on my own. As I said, I had to separate from a lot of people, from my close friends who got me into this, that they were looking for the top dollar claims, and we had no experience. So how can I, how can I not accept work because I want the most money, but I don't know anything? I actually, listening to that mindset, I actually met someone at a meet and greet maybe a few months later. He had did like 120 claims, and the call that he got, I got the same call, but I turned it down because of the money wasn't what my peers were saying we should be making. And I shot myself in the foot, but it's okay, because I kind of separated myself and said I gotta make this happen. So yes, having a community in the beginning would have definitely, I would have been able to start much sooner than what I did.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm happy that you're well adjusted into it now, and hopefully, as these storms start hitting, you'll get more work.
Yes, and was Dimitri, I want you guys know. So I got the New York license, so I passed that.
Oh my God, the New York license, Jesus!
Last week. So
congratulations!
Thank you,
brother.
Huge like weight off my shoulders, man.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Good job, brother.
I'll come out
That's
of
the
it now
whole
with the
thing.
New York license.
I told you, boy, just do some
I'll come out
studying
of
and
it
start
now.
taking the test. That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Buckle down, and I definitely started studying.
Yeah, hello, duh. Hey. You could have saved yourself about 2 or 3 attempts if you'd have did it the first time. You're too spoiled. Try to take it the easy way. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations, man. Super proud of you, dog.
Thank you.
All right, Kayvon.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Okay. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, 360's very own Janea. Would you like to come on out?
Yes. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can.
You guys can hear me? Awesome. Okay, let me just share my screen. Major, if you could help me out with that.
I got you. I made you a host.
Did you make the other one? Sorry, because I have 2 accounts right now. It's the other one.
I got you. Let me switch it right quick. All right, you good to go.
All right. Got me. Okay, so well, for starters, happy Sunday, everyone. I'm just gonna be going over what it says, a mock exterior inspection. For those that have already, been adjusting, this will hopefully be a refresher, since we've been out of work for a while. I know it was for me while I was setting it up. And of course, for the new people, hopefully this is like a brief introduction into how your excuse me, how your photos in your file should go or can go. So let's see. Okay. So another thing I just want to say is that, of course, we're independent adjusters, right? So the reason why I said that is each person that you run into, that you receive help from, they're going to do things in a completely different way, possibly. Everybody does things, to their own pace and how they feel comfortable doing things. So take this as just like, the body of what you can do and add, your own sauce to it, or, reach out to other people and get their opinions on things. As for some of the seasoned adjusters, please don't hesitate to, give any other input that could help me and help anyone else here that's looking, because I'm always looking to see how other people do things as well. So, okay, so I'll get started. Typically, I always start with the front of the house, right? Some people like to start with the address. Like I said, I start in the front of the house to get a clear picture of the entire front elevation. Just in case, these photos obviously are free for the file, but just in case you forget things, you want to make sure that you get every angle of the house. There's been times where I've had to come back to my photos to see, how many window wraps were over there, or how many windows, or whatever else that you may need. So like I said, I typically get the front elevation, then I go ahead and go right into the address. That's my risk, so everybody knows exactly where I'm inspecting, making sure I'm inspecting the right home, right? So now I'm doing a mock hail and wind inspection. So let's assume that you got the AccuWeather report. There was wind there. There was no hail there, but the contractor or the insured is saying that it hailed in the area. Most likely they heard from a friend or something that it hailed, or they see everybody getting new roofs. So they're like, they put in a claim and stuff like that. So, pay attention to those things. So that's what we're going for here today. So typically this is a picture of the awning, the front awning that you see. Hold on, sorry, it's lagging a little. This front awning right here, I always take my flashlight to, because a lot of the times you will see some type of hail pattern underneath these awnings. This is a picture of the awning. Obviously, like I said, this is no hail, so you can see here that this is not what hail would typically look like. It looks like something may have scratched this. I always I tend to take photographs of other damages, and I would put this in the file as OTH, other than hail, just so that any future people that are dealing with the claim or have to look back into a previous claim, they'll be able to see that this damage has already been there. I put this picture in here just to show you what spatter does not look like. So on those aluminum sidings, a lot of the time the aluminum siding houses, they are super old. The aluminum probably has been there for 30 years plus. So you'll see a lot of dents, a lot of dirt, a lot of contractors claiming whatever is hail on these things. A lot of the times when you're working for specific firms, they will want you to present spatter. This is showing you this is not spatter, and this is typically some of the things that you would see on aluminum siding. Okay, so then I go over to the right elevation, and then you can see that we do have some wind damage up in this area right here. But this is just, like I said, we labeled this the right elevation, then we get some up close shots. I took my flashlight to to shine on the downspout. This is something new that I'm trying to add into my files, where I show, hey, this downspout does not have any damage, or there was no damage found on these downspouts, because there's been times in the past where I have contractors, after I close the file or close the claim, they're coming back 2 weeks later trying to add all of the downspouts or any other downspouts, any other window wraps. So it's really important for you to show that there's also no damage to these items. Especially if you're newer to the field, you might as well just take more pictures than you need. Me personally, my managers that I continue to, work for, they know me pretty well, so I don't feel the need to put too many photos into my file. However, I know that they are looking. They're definitely looking for those photos where it says no damage, especially if there's previous damages or previous claims that they filed in the past. So that's definitely something that I'm looking to do. And this is just me shining it again. Once I take that photo up close, I try to take another photo just to show exactly where it is. You can see that this is the front facing downspout that I was showing that has no damage. Because like I said, those contractors will come back trying to add whatever they can to those estimates just to get some more money. So this is me showing that these screens have no damage. A lot of the times you'll see where the hail may have hit the screens and cause the screens to rip. It might be small or larger depending on the hail, but you will typically see that. And from your AccuWeather report, you could kind of try to find which direction the wind and hail was coming from, so that before you even get to the house, like, okay, they said that the wind was coming from the southeast. So for this house, that is the front and the right side. That's where you might see most of the hail. Not saying that you won't see any hail damage, on other elevations, but if you don't see hail hits directly on that side where the storm was coming from, then you have to start kind of like questioning things as you're moving around the house. So this is me just shining the flashlight. A few weeks ago when Demetrio talked about having a light, it's really important to have a light, because when I don't flash this, you can't see these little marks. You know what I mean? And like I said, aluminum is super easy to get banged up, and it's usually really old. So you'll always find, different marks that could be hail. Like I said, I typically put other than hail when I see stuff like this. And a lot of the times when you get up close on some of those hits, you can see that there might be a scratch in it that shows that, okay, yeah, something hit this. This is not hail. Because like I said, a lot of times the contractors will sit there and point out, this, that, and the third, and you're looking at them like, that doesn't look like hail at all. So let's see, moving on. That's just more scratches. I see. A lot of the times you definitely want to check the window wraps, especially when you have a flashlight. I try not to just chalk up all the window wraps, around the place. But like I said, the window wraps, especially the aluminum ones, they get banged up really easy. So always shine a light on there so that you can see. If it doesn't come out in your photo, you can always just go ahead and put some chalk on there. Excuse me. Okay.
What kind of camera are you using for this? Like, are you using your phone?
This is just my phone. Yeah, this is just my phone.
What kind of phone do you have? Nice.
Wait, it looks good or it's not?
Yeah. No, it looks good. I'm like, what kind of phone do you have?
But because I know some of the cameras that some of the carriers give you are not the best. I low-key think that they do that on purpose, but that's neither here nor there. They're not the best, so you definitely want to make sure you take your time taking them, because you don't want to come back and the pictures are blurry. Because trust me, when you're writing up that file note, you're gonna just be pissed at yourself for having blurry photos. But yes, like Meech just said, window wraps are easy money. They get banged up so easily out there, even from the smallest of hail. So always check the wraps. Okay, so this is me taking up close photos of the wind damage that I found, just so that people can see that it looks like it was peeled off here. You can see that this house has shingled siding, or yes, it's like shingles basically, the texture of it. But you can see that there is another layer of siding down here. So when I see stuff like this on the house, and I know that I have to replace an elevation, the next thing that I'm looking to do is write down everything. Excuse me, hold on, let me go to this photo. Write down everything that's on this elevation. So I would, write down that there are two condensing units on here. There's, you can't see it down here, but there's also like some cable wires, stuff like that. Once I start writing that down, I have to go back to the front and write down everything that I might have to replace on there. Let me just go back, because when you're doing aluminum siding, most of the time the aluminum siding is not made. I'm not even sure if they still make aluminum siding or not, but a lot of the times it's no longer made. So you will most likely be replacing the all elevations. So once you've realized that you're going to be replacing some siding, of course, depending on the policy that the person has in the state that they're in. But let's assume for this that we are replacing all four sides. I will go ahead and make sure I, pay attention to these things. So we have a downspout up here that we would have to detach and reset. I would also, of course, grab the measurement of the awning that you would have to replace if there was damage to that. Again, this downspout over here. So you want to pay attention to everything that's on the siding that will have to be detached and reset. Let me see something. This is also a good photo to have in the file, just so that they can see exactly what size it is. A lot of the times, management can kind of eyeball and say, yeah, that's most likely, no longer made. Of course, you have to go through the proper steps to put in the file that shows, yes, it's no longer made, but at least they can see the measurements and stuff like that. So I tend to do that as well. This is the rear. So again, we will be looking at all these things to detach and reset, including the downspouts and whatnot. And then just still looking for wind damage. This is me just showing you that the light, if you get a great light, you can go ahead and shine your light all the way up the downspout, 20 feet up, and be able to see if there's damage or if there isn't damage. There's a lot of times you won't see anything on the lower 10 feet of the downspout. And when you shine your light up there, you'll definitely be able to get a few hits from up there. So again, this is just a reference shot of which downspout I would be talking about if there was damage to it. And let's see. And so this is my light. This is me just showing you how I shine the light just to see what's on the siding, on the aluminum siding, if there is any damage or whatnot. Now you can see over here that the fence is pretty tight, so it was hard for me to get the left elevation. So of course I always take another one from the front, just so that you can go ahead and see the entire elevation. Like I said, in case you wasn't able to, write down everything, you're like, oh, I'm replacing all four sides now. I need to, detach and reset everything that's on there. You can use these photos as a reference for yourself, or even the next person. There's been times when I've worked claims or part of the cleanup crew, and I have to go ahead and wrap someone's house, or I have to go ahead and do a full roof replacement. And if you don't have certain photos or, showing the overall elevation or the roof like overpick, it'll be hard to see like how many turtle vents do they have up there? What else do they have up there that you may have that you forgot to write down? So it's really important for yourself and for the next person or a manager that has to go up in there and clean up your file after you, and they would like photos like this. Okay, so at first I had went up to the garage to do the inspection, to just do a quick little photos for the roof. But then it was like an 8 pitch, and I was like, yeah, not today, because I didn't have my boots. And for me personally, 7 or lower, I have no problem getting on my sneakers. When it comes to 8 or higher, I don't really play too many games with it, so I just put my boots on. But typically, this this photo would be showing you, okay, they don't have any gutters, they don't have a drip edge, things like that. They didn't have any ice and water shield on this one. It's hard to see, but there is just felt underneath there. So I was just taking a photo of that. And then I went into the house's, the roof here, and just showing another picture again that this is the felt paper. They don't have any ice or water shield that I can see from right here.
Where's this house located?
This house is located in New York, in Queens.
Okay, in New York. Okay.
Yeah. I usually take photos like this too, because sometimes the gutter will be drilled into the drip edge. A lot of times you'll be able to see the drip edge here, and this will be drilled into the drip edge. The reason why you do that is when you do a full roof inspection or a full roof replacement, you will also replace the drip edge. So if this is drilled through the drip edge, that's a reminder to you to detach and reset the gutters. And that's typically something I would just jot down on my my clipboard in case I get up there and I'm like, okay, yeah, this roof is cooked. We need to replace it. I did not do a full roof inspection because I just wanted to just show just some photos of the shingles and stuff like that. Let me see. No, this is not a multi-layered roof. It's not. I believe that this is also, I think they have a starter on the eaves and the rakes for this one, and I think that's the reason why it looks a little thicker right here at the edge. And let's see. So yeah, like I said, you always want to see if the gutter is drilled into the drip edge, because again, depending if you're on component or not, everything adds up. You want to try to get everything that you can. I always take a photo of the measurement of the soffit or underneath the eaves, because if you do a full roof replacement in certain states, you will have to put ice and water shield. That may be a code upgrade that you have to put in there. And at least for some of the platforms that I use, they need to know the measurement of the soffit. They need to know the pitch and the length of the eaves. So these are things that you want to keep in mind, and that you want to just make sure that you're documenting in the file. A lot of times people also take measurements of the gutter. I know I take a measurement of the gutter when I feel like it's bigger than a normal gutter or average gutter. Then I'll go ahead and take a photo of that, just to show why I'm putting, a 7-inch gutter instead of the regular 5 or 6-inch gutter, things like that. Anything that you feel like you have to add to your report, you want to make sure that you have a photo for it, so that when your manager's going on like, okay, well, why did she add this to the report? Why do they need this? He can go right to the file, or I can send him the photo that's already in the file and show him, hey, this is why I added that. So just to cover your own stuff, you want to make sure you do stuff like that. Yeah, this photo, I don't know how this got in there, but anyway, this photo is basically just showing that the gutter is clean. A lot of the times, and you could take your flashlight. I know Meech is good for that. He loves using his flashlight while he's on the ground to take a look at the gutters. I'm a daredevil, so I typically get close to the gutters. So I just do it that way myself. Please, excuse me. So I'm just basically showing that, because a lot of times you can easily see a hail dent in this gutter, and especially like on the lip. I know a lot of the times it's harder to see. Sometimes you might have to run your chalk on this lip area right here, but a lot of the times it does get dinged up. So pay attention to that, because then you can go ahead and replace the gutters. You always want to get a picture of the exposure. This is for management, or for the carrier to see once they go back and review your claims. They want to see stuff like this, just so you can get a good measure of it, because sometimes from afar they could be discontinued, and if you don't have this measurement, they may have to ask the contractor to go back out there and get it, or they might have to send someone out there and get it, just so that they can see. We all know the 5-inch exposures for laminate shingles are usually discontinued. So you definitely want to get the exposure, and then you also want to get, the full length of it. So for this one, I don't know why it's lagged for right now. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing the next photo. Okay, there we go. So that's the full length of the shingle. You can see I put my finger exactly where it ends so that they can see it's 41 inches long. So you always want to also add that in there as well. And typically, one of my last shots is usually the pitch. You can see on this one, I don't know why it's lagging. Sorry about that. But yeah, usually one of my last shots is the pitch, so that, you know, when you're trying to charge or when you're trying to build for those steep roofs, they're going to want to see if it's actually steep, if it's a 10 or if it's a 7. You know, you get paid a bit different depending on the steepness of the roof. So you can see here, this one is clearly a 4. It's pretty easy to get on. And then, so I took this photo because I wanted to show, and this is something that I would normally show in my file, especially if I'm considering replacing the siding. So this is the roof, and this is where the roof meets the siding. So you can see that it was caulked up here, but you could also see that it has a few layers. Underneath the aluminum siding, it has that other one, and then it has, God knows, I don't even know. I have no idea how many layers. It looks like there's at least 2 layers, though. I would at least estimate for 2 additional layers to be removed, if I am replacing all 4 elevations of the house. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the photos. Now typically I would do, like, this is like a mock type of inspection note I would put in for the roof. Now the first one is, okay, inspected dwelling roof, which is approximately 3 years old, 2-story gable style laminated shingle in good, you could put good or average condition. Put no drip or ice or water shield was present at the time of the inspection. I inspected all slopes and found no hail or wind damage to the shingles. No other damages found on the roof. No spatter found at the time of the inspection. Now, again, this is just what I would do for a roof inspection. Typically, the firm that you're working for, they may have a format of how they want all, you know, everyone who works for them, how they want them to look. So I would, of course, reach out to management first to see if they have anything like that. I know the firm that I worked for, they have that. However, they don't want you to continue to just copy and paste it. So over time, I just started typing it out myself so that I could get used to, you know, naming all the things. And again, if I missed anything, please let me know so that when I get back to work, you know, I could do it properly. But that's typically how I would do it if I found no damage. The second one is another example. It states, I inspected the dwelling roof, which is approximately 10 years old, 2-story gable style roof with 3 tabs in less than average condition, with a drip edge and ice and water shield present. I inspected all slopes and found granule loss on the front and right slopes. No hail damage found to the shingles. However, you could put, you know, your title. I typically put FCR, sometimes ECR. Found wind damage to the front slope. Again, this is just like if I did find damage. I found wind damage to the front slope equaling about 15 shingles, and the right slope equaling about 7 shingles. Due to the poor condition of the shingles, I'm recommending a partial roof replacement of the front and right slopes. No other damage found to shingles, no spatter found at the time of the inspection. So it's important to note, especially if you did not find damage to the shingles, it's important to note if you did find spatter at the inspection site. That's really big, because without the spatter, it's not great to try to prove that there was hail there. And I did leave out a photo where on aluminum siding, you can go ahead and put an X mark on the siding. If an X does pop up, it typically means that oxidation has occurred already, and any hail damage that they may be reporting from a like a a recent hail date, it's probably not from that. You could try to put two and two together and say, okay, this is probably from an older hail date. Especially when you're in those states where it hails a lot. I was working in Illinois, and I mean, when you go to the history of like how many claims, you know, someone's had, it could be 3 or 4 times they've had wind damage or hail claim, or, you know, whatever that. Some states, they don't have any history of damage. So you want to pay attention, especially in those states where they have, you know, multiple storms, because you'll find yourself paying for stuff that you should have never paid for. And you got to hope and pray that a couple of management eyes don't catch it, because, you know, then you're just showing that, that you're not up on your game and you're not paying attention to what's going on in the file. So definitely want to pay attention to stuff like that. Again, when it comes to the exterior portion, like I said, a lot of carriers or a lot of firms will go ahead and give you a format of what they want it to look like. They might say, okay, we want you to go into detail. Front elevation, was there any damage? Right elevation, you know, stuff like that. So again, you want to ask that first, but in your initial file note, you definitely want to mention any damages that you found on the exterior. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got. So I think there was a few questions I will try to answer. Oh, spatter, man. So before I worked in Illinois, I had no idea what spatter was, and I had worked 2 hail assignments before that. So I had no idea what spatter is. Spatter is basically, think of like a paintball, right? When it hits the target or whatever, it kind of leaves that, like, it kind of leaves something there that lets you know, okay, it hit here. Whether it's like a trail coming off, it's not going to just be like a circle, or like a shaded circle on aluminum, you know, like anybody else could chime in too. Yeah, you could chime in if you have.
But in that picture you had when you was measuring the siding panel, if you go back to that one, it has some spatter on that siding panel. So go back to that picture.
Right, but that's what I was letting you know, like there was no hail here. Like there was really no hail here.
Well,
this
spatter
is
could look like that. It could look like
right. Spatter could look like this. Absolutely. Yeah. But typically you would see like a little trail or something. Like if this was actual spatter, that would mean that the hail was rather soft. Even if it was larger, that means it was probably really soft, and it just immediately, as soon as it hit the surface, it just, you know, broke apart.
Because
but when you have hail that, right. So when you have bigger hail, you'll have something that looks like, you know, kind of like this. It leaves a mark, but you'll see it leaves like a trail because it hit it and kind of like went down or went up or went to the side. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to check for spatter. And you can check for spatter on a whole lot of different things. You can get spatter on the downspouts. Sometimes you could get spatter on the roof, like on the shingles. The satellite dish is my go-to, because spatter really stays there for a while. So always look at the, I always grab a picture of the dish when it's hail, whether I'm saying no spatter found or spatter found. Yes, the electrical boxes.
The driveway.
Yeah. Yeah, and even sometimes I've also used like plants and stuff. If it held hard enough and there's trees right there, you can literally see circles. If you look up, you can see the circles through the leaves in the trees. So you want to pay, like, what I learned with this job is that obviously I don't automatically think anyone's lying to me, but you kind of have to be a little bit of a detective with this job. You kind of have to be like, so was this like this like before the storm? There's so many times people are like, oh yeah, that happened during the storm. And I'm just like, that I don't know if that happened during the storm. You know what I mean? Especially if you can see something sharp hit it, you're just like, that's probably not hail. But it depends on what's going on. I'm not too pressed with people, especially if it's like their first claim. Obviously, if it's clearly not hail, I'm not writing it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm clearly not doing that. But if it can be well, you don't know, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna fight with you over small things. But when it comes to the shingles, if the hail is not there, I'm not even trying to buy the roof for real. Especially if the AccuWeather says that there was no hail there. I'm definitely not looking to buy the roof. Um, let's see. What does it mean when you find spatter? Basically, spatter means that, okay, there was a storm here. Because there'll be times where let's say just in for my state, let's say in Queens it hailed. That doesn't mean it hailed all over Queens. You know what I mean? That means that there was a good section where it hailed hard, and on the outer skirts of it, it probably didn't even get hail, or it may have just rained or stuff like that. So when you actually see the spatter, you know that within, like, they say that spatter could last up to a year. So if you get there and there's been previous damage, they had previous storms there in the area, and you get there, you see that there's hail damage. You're like, okay, this looks like some type of hail damage. Maybe not even on the shingles just yet, because the shingles could really tell you if it is old hail damage. But let's just say you're just walking around the house first. You can see that there's hail damage. I can see on the aluminum, like, okay, yeah, there's hail damage here. But I don't see any spatter anywhere. Spatter nowhere to be found. And trust me, you will find spatter. And once we get back to working and stuff, I'll be able to find like actual photos of good spatter that I could take to show like what good spatter looks like. But trust me, you'll be able to find the spatter. And that's why I mentioned to put an X on the aluminum siding, because if you try to mark it with your bare hand and an X shows up, that's how you know that, yeah, it may have hailed here, but it didn't hail here recently. It could have been something, something older, something like that.
Chime in a little bit on that, Janea, just a little bit of piggyback on that. Spatter is not only used to determine if hail was present, it's also used to determine the size of the hail that was recently present. More importantly, if you go on the roof and they're saying there's, big 2-3 inch hail marks, but your spatter indicates
that's a very good point.
Hail, then they're going to say that's not from the recent storm, because the spatter indicates the size of the hail. So
absolutely,
that's one of the most
that's
important
a great
things
point.
about,
Thank you.
when you find spatter.
Yes, because a lot of the times when you find spatter too, you might want to put if you find a good spatter hit or whatever, you might want to put your measuring tape up to it. Absolutely. Just to see what the spatter is measuring at. 2 inches, 3 inches, how big is it? Is it super small? Because a lot of times you might see super small spatter like this, right? That you see on the aluminum. Let's just say this is spatter. And then when you get on the roof, you see these big things, and you're just like, it's not, how am I supposed to sell this? You know what I'm saying? My job is to sell it. Like, okay, yeah, this is damage here. Let me show them that there is damage here. I can't I'm showing spatter this small. And actually, I've had a claim like that before, where it was a wooden roof. Wooden shakes, hate those roofs. But they were trying to get it bought, of course, and I showed spatter on the shakes, and it was very small. It was very similar to this. And I wasn't trying to buy the roof, but it was a reinspection. So I was out there just, documenting and bringing back, to my manager to discuss. But when they saw the spatter hits that I took a photo of that they didn't have in the first inspection, and then they see the hits that they're claiming is hail, it doesn't add up. The hits are much bigger, the spatter is much smaller, so they're just like, they're not buying it. You know what I mean? So
can I chime in as well?
Right. Wood shake roofs pay very good. Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Tyree.
I just wanted to say also, with like the aluminum siding and even like the gutters, like hell, it won't leave any marks when it hits. So, so that could be, from like mechanical damage or, intentional.
Exactly.
And also like splatter on like fencing as well. That'll show like, where.
Oh yes, on wooden fences especially.
Right.
Especially, but no, you bring up a good point. Also, when you're doing a hail inspection, and sometimes you'll get a weather report, and it'll say there was 2 in jail. You get to the house and none of the soft metals are dinged up. You can't find anything on. You find one hit on a downspout. You find nothing on the gutters. You don't really find anything on the window wraps. You have to start drawing conclusions. You know what I mean? Okay, there's probably not too much damage here, whether this is hail or not. You know what I'm saying? You start putting it together, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a new roof. I have to tell you, they don't really care too much about what you're saying. Are you getting me a new roof or not? That's what most of the people, and you'll hear people. The most famous thing you'll hear from people is, "Oh, the hell! It was huge. I took a picture of it," or they'll they'll let you know that whether the hail was just crazy, or, oh, this is a famous one. But my neighbor, they just got a new roof, and the person across the street, they just got a new roof. Why am I not getting a roof? People don't understand, especially the materials of shingles. What type of shingles do you have? How old is your roof? Things like that. So you'll have to, work your way with speaking to people about, especially like that. Because like I said, everybody wants a new roof. Everyone I meet wants a new roof. It's very seldom where I find somebody, I'm like, your roof is actually in pretty good condition. And they're just like, oh, thank the Lord. I'm so happy, like, that they don't have to deal with it. But that's often not the response. But yeah, that's it for me. Is there any other questions? Yeah, Meecher's right. You definitely want to have collateral damage. Thanks,
awesome,
thanks,
Janae.
Trav.
I was
Thank
all
you,
smiling,
thank
like, wow, look at that. She know her business. Look at that. I was all proud.
Man, that's what we need. I
That was
wish that I
good.
had this before I went on my first deployment. I could tell you that.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like,
The
let me help
replays
some
will be
people out.
available on YouTube. You can watch this over and over and over again to get
Yep.
refreshed on what's happening.
This is a blessing.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right. So, with that being said, I'll go ahead
Yeah,
and close out the meeting. Again, Janae, thank you for that information. For sharing that
absolutely.
with everyone. I know specifically one of my good friends, Dylan. He's in here, and I'm sure he appreciated that information for sure. Because he hasn't worked the deployment or did any inspections yet. So
Mm,
we need to share this information. So that was beautiful.
absolutely.
But like I said earlier, if you guys haven't filled out the feedback form, if you can go ahead and do that for us. If you haven't, another thing, deployments are 100% back flowing. I'm trusting and believing that we'll get calls this week. It was, I think, what that was Friday. It was like 80 tornado watches or something, like across the Midwest. So it's
Friday
been
and
really
Saturday,
active.
a lot
Yeah.
of damage was found
And one of
on
my
Friday and
friends,
Saturday.
yeah, one of my friends visited from Oklahoma to Houston this weekend, and she's an adjuster as well. I met her in Florida working a hurricane. She showed me pictures of like about 15 minutes away from where she lives in Oklahoma, and the whole town was completely destroyed. Like it looked like a ghost town by a tornado.
Oh
So
my
it's like
God.
it's been active, very active.
It's
So
a tornado. It's a tornado right now going on in Oklahoma, actually.
exactly. So
So terrible.
Of
So
course it
yeah,
is.
terrible.
Oklahoma. Of course it is. Come on,
I
man.
know, but like, so terrible.
Y'all
it's
grab that
kind of bad
Oklahoma
that we.
license.
Yeah, it's going down, boy. I just barely missed my house last night.
Oh man.
This
Does
guy here.
Oklahoma
This
require a
guy.
license?
Hey, glad he missed it.
I'm out here straightening up right now, bro. For real. It was crazy. It was
Man,
crazy.
we glad he
Does,
missed you.
Glad
does
he
Yeah,
just
stay
Oklahoma
missed you
safe.
require a
by.
Stay
license?
safe.
Yeah, for real.
Y'all can hear me?
I was trying to go do some lifts. I'm finna go do some lifts. They
Oh, you
say, I
about
know
you
it's.
about to get lifted.
That's
Yo, can y'all hear
exactly
me?
what was about to happen. I turned around real quick.
Yes, Kayvon, I
It's
can hear
raining
you.
in Jersey right now. It's storming right
My
now.
phone was tripping. I'm about to
Damn, is it
leave.
supposed to rain over here?
It's bad over here.
Well, yeah. So I was asking, does Oklahoma require a license?
I think it
Yep.
does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Yes.
does.
Get
Just
that.
buy that. Go ahead
Definitely
and buy
does.
that thing.
I mean, go get it
Yeah, I
Oklahoma.
just
Yeah. It ain't
applied for
expensive.
I applied for
It's not
mine
expensive though,
Friday.
but it does
How much
require
is
one
it?
phone.
Nah.
Actually on Saycon it was like I want to say $46.
Oh, I'm worried about that
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, you get Arkansas too while you at it. If you get Oklahoma, get Arkansas.
I need to get Arkansas too. That's the one
Yeah.
I need to go in there and get Arkansas and Georgia now. That's what I'll probably do tonight.
Yeah. Make sure
If
you
enough
get
goes
that.
on in Oklahoma, they may offer some emergency licenses too while y'all are waiting. So keep your ears and eyes open on the rosters.
So when we get those calls this week, 100K Club, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for
Yeah,
us to-
everybody. Larry is out in Oklahoma, so we got some place to stay.
Larry.
For sure. Hey, for sure. I got a 3-bedroom house and I only use one room.
we
So
good.
y'all
We
more than
good,
welcome.
everybody. We good.
Yeah, but everyone, please
Yeah, we
join us
good.
next week for week 43, Laboratory Redemption. We will have Dr. Travis Brock as our guest speaker. So please join us again next week. Hopefully, by next Sunday, we're on our meeting. We're somewhere deployed. So, like I said, I'm declaring and decreeing that. So,
Yes,
we'll
Can
see.
I-
sir. Yes, sir.
God
Can I
bless.
add something?
Amen to that.
Can I add something? Just Tyree.
Yes, sir.
I just want just for I know you guys, most of you guys are on the west middle, but for like any adjusters that are on like the northeast side, outside of CAT, a lot of the adjusters that I know that are on this side of the northeast area that have the New York license, they're constantly busy with like daily claims, like they're working nonstop. So anyone that's on like the northeast side, I encourage to get the New York license because you will stay busy outside of CAT. So that's just my 2 cents on that regard.
Good information.
And Tyree, do they require you to have your own Xactimate license for those daily claims, or not license but a subscription, or do they provide that?
It depends on the firm. So I know Pilot, Paysetters, they give discounts. So it depends on the company.
Gotcha. I appreciate that.
No problem. Of course.
Awesome. It's awesome, gang. Where my music at, man? Major? What the music at? I'm ready to
There you
dance.
go.
Huh?
We're ready to dance in a salmon color.
Great call tonight, guys.
Let's go, Clifton. Where we at, Clifton? Hey.
Oh my God.
Travis, you working?
I'm getting my dance on. Yep, right
Really
now.
not at all.
Oh, dog.
Oh, he said he wasn't
That's
in
how
Dallas.
y'all know it's time. That's how
Yeah,
y'all know it's time.
I mean, it's time to get out of here. Hey,
Yeah.
everyone, have a great
I gotta get up.
remainder of your.
Nah.
Mm.
Hey, Trav,
All
I'm gonna
right,
hit you up
guys.
here in about an hour, man. I need to holler at you.
It's like a middle age.
Wait, who?
Never mind.
No, he don't. That's too young. Look at him.
All right, y'all.
Oh my
It's a
God.
middle
Yeah.
age.
Everybody
So
have a
old,
great
so
evening.
gone, man.
Enjoy
Holler
the
at
rest of
y'all
this
later, man.
weekend, this Sunday, man.
Bye,
Peace
y'all.
out
Have
to
a
you.
great
Have a
week.
great
Good
week.
stuff, guys. Good stuff,
Bye.
gang.
Peace,
That was
peace.
awesome, man.
Good job.
What's up, Ivan? What up, Rick?
Where you at, Trav?
How'd it go? Man, I'm up in Detroit, man. I went to what up, though, man? I went to a conference this weekend up in Lansing.
Okay. You drove or you flew?
Flew.
Oh, okay. You only drive from
Yeah,
work.
so,
That makes sense.
yeah, so I just got back from Lansing this afternoon. Hey, Rick, how'd it go today? You gone?
It went
The
real
art show.
well.
You crushed. I know you crushed the art show.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, man. I like it.
All right, there, buddy.
All right, y'all.
We'll get a chance to top it up about it.
All right. We'll sure hit you up, brother Ivan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.